We are now video casting along with podcasting, so you can hear us, you can see us, you can talk to us.
Sound like a TV show.
We will be talking about the Coaches Roundtable.
And I see half of a game here, half of a game there, because I want to get eyes on these teams that we're ranking. Welcome on in to another podcast. This is what we're going on week 7, John.
Week 7. I can't
This
believe
is the U Conference Extra Point Podcast. John, what an amazing weekend. I was out there. Do you know how many 7-6 games we had? What's the name of the show? The Extra Point. If you're not scoring extra points, as these things tighten, our scores were a lot closer this week. Thanks to you and a lot of work. And thanks to everybody out there, all the well wishes and stuff for my dad passing away. We'll have his services this afternoon, get those taken care of. But thank you to everybody. We are truly a family here in the Ute Conference. And my dad started my love of football when I was 9 years old. So thank my dad for my love of this game. So, John, what'd you do with your hair? Oh, my goodness.
I told them if they keep winning, I'd cut it off.
So they're 1 in a row?
Hey, we're 3 in a row.
You're 3 in a row?
3 in a row. I told you.
See, I've been distracted. I want to thank our sponsors right now. We have some great ones, John. We have Arby's. Year in and year out, they supply through their foundation, they supply us a good chunk of money, which helps offset scholarships. We have Siegfried and Jensen. Oh my goodness, Siegfried and Jensen. It's the Siegfried and Jensen check-in tent. And we have a couple others out there that one does not want to be named, but I'll tell you what, you probably get, well, if you're bad. The theme this year has been play stupid games, win stupid prizes, and you probably get to hear from our other set of attorneys. And they are very much got our backs, and we work everything. So you guys know, when you say attorney, you don't scare us. Because quite honestly, we have a full staff of attorneys that are at our beck and call. And we thank them as well. Okay. Last week, we had a lot of people, and thank you, John. You stepped up big time for me. I had distractions and things going on with my father, and the schedule, I couldn't have done it last week without you, or we couldn't have finished it. So thank you very much for what you did. But let me just go back and recap really quickly here. Then we've got a special guest that's sitting over here that I want to talk to, that has put a lot of time and energy and effort into youth football. But the theme, if we would have had a podcast last week, the theme would have been 0-5 can be greater than or equal to 5-0. Everybody is so programmed at looking at win-loss records that they don't look at strength of schedule, points given up, those types of things. Now, we're not here to get everything right. These rankings that go out there, I'm sorry, another week I didn't do Jeff versus the computer because I've just been too busy. But every week, John, as we go down this, is it our goal to be perfect? Is it our goal to name the absolute number 1 team or the number 10 team or the number 25th team?
No. We got to get them in the vicinity.
We don't care who's number 1. We don't care who's 25. We don't care who's 79. We want you playing good games. We want you playing competitive games. And so, this weekend, we had several 5-0s, and the people on the other side were screaming, saying, oh my gosh, they're 5-0. They're tearing us up. They're tearing everybody up. I said, just go play the game. See what happens. We had several 0-5s win against the 5-0s. Again, we're not perfect. But our job, what we're trying to do and what we're trying to accomplish is how to line things up. You settle it on the field. You let your kids go play. Let them have fun. And oh, by the way, give them treats. That's what we do. We play football to get to the treats, John. And a haircut. Oh, man. You guys got to see him. Maverick over there all he needs is his aviators, and he's on.
I'm going into boot camp.
All right. Today with us, John, we got Terry Orchard. Terry, how many years have you coached?
This is my 52nd.
52nd years. He started when he was 6.
Rookie.
52nd year. I thought I was a long timer. I coached 30. But 50, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks to all the kids that you have made an impact. As I was thinking about my dad and watching Facebook and watching, I can't tell you how many players that he coached that said, thanks, you made a difference.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you're making a difference in people's lives. So I thought about this podcast because I knew we were going to have you on, and I knew that it had been a long time. I didn't know it was 52 years. John, how old are you?
Oh, 25.
So he's doubled you up in years coaching versus your age. Okay, we got that one. Oh, before we move on, John, I forgot you didn't remind me, John. On October 10th, 6 p.m., we have the selection show where all the pairings, they will be 8 team pairings for the playoffs. Tony Parks will be here live. We're going to roll.
Hey, Jeff.
What?
We're going to look at the head-to-head then, right?
Sure. Sure, John. Selection show Monday, October 10th, 6 o'clock. Hey, we want you guys, if you're going to have team parties, if you're going to have barbecues, put them out on social media. Let's make this a great event. We are not going to have a live studio audience like we've had in the years past because this has become a warehouse in here. But Tony Parks will be here live. We'll be posting on Facebook. I'm not sure what other social media channels will be going. But Terry, 52 years. You've got the Farmington Black Bantam team. Had a nice conversation a year ago with Coach Coates at Farmington High School. And you've done some really good things with these kids. These kids probably wouldn't be playing at the high school. They were sent down to get another year of experience, another year of growth. How important is that at this age?
It's huge. There are so many changes that occur 13 and 14. And the lack of mentors that these kids need is tremendous. And football and coaching is where they get it.
Well, I've said all along, for years, I've stood in front of city councils.
Yeah.
If they're wearing my colors on my team, they're not wearing somebody else's colors on somebody else's team, which could be doing some bad things to our cities.
Yeah. My dad passed away when I was 3 years old. And as I was raised in Bountiful, I had 15 guardian angels, mentors, who put their arms around me and watched me and made sure that I was taken care of. And when the opportunity came up when I was 19 years old to take a group of 9-year-olds, I says, hey, I got some people I need to pay back. I'm hoping I'm getting close.
So you've got a little perspective. You've been around for a while. You've been in the Ute Conference, then you left the Ute Conference, and now you're back to the Ute Conference. Tell us the difference, or tell people, because there's people out there that don't think there's a difference between us and other organizations.
Big difference, Jeff, big difference. The Wasatch Front Football League is run by cities and recreations, and the Ute Conference is run by parents. And they both have different, I don't want to say agendas, but just the way they operate is just a little different.
Well, you take, and nothing negative towards the cities. Yeah. They run recreation programs for baseball, basketball, the junior jazz, hockey in some cases, soccer, all kinds of things. They're doing a lot of great things. But we run a quasi-competitive / recreational football organization all in one.
Yes. And it's dedicated year-round. where the cities just go from season to season to season and lose their focus on their individual sports. We're here at the youth conference, it's football.
Well, but if we were very fortunate this year. Vicky worked very, very hard getting equipment, getting things in here. We got supply chain issues that are not letting up.
Yeah.
But tell us, you've had a lot of teams. Tell us how you like the new format now.
Oh my gosh.
Of playing of this reset.
So for years, I would be so tied up with, boy, I got to have this kid and I got to have that kid because I'm going to be put in a district with these other 7 or 8 teams, and if I don't get these particular kids, I'm going to have a hard season.
You're going to struggle.
I'm going to struggle, and I've had them. I've had a lot of winning seasons, but I've had 2 seasons I didn't win a football game. But with the new format, it puts a whole new meaning, and I use the term when I receive my box of chocolates.
Hey, Forrest, you got a box of chocolates over there?
Yeah, because I don't know what I'm going to get. And the players develop as we go from week to week to week, and we get better. With the new format, I'm not that concerned about it because I'm going to be who I am, who my kids are. And you have now given us the opportunity to be able to play those equal teams through the end of the season and have great years.
So you had a tough game this Saturday.
Had a tough game. Played a great Westlake team. Big, strong, could throw, battled back and forth. We went up 14-0. They came back and tied us up 14-14. We went ahead 22. They scored 20-20, 22.
But it was a great football game.
It was back and forth.
And you lost.
And we lost.
And oh well, you learned. Your kids competed.
Yeah. And we at the end of the game, we went by, we high-fived, we said a great game to everybody. Brad and I shook hands and said, wasn't this fun? Wasn't this a great game?
See, that's our goal. Now, it doesn't happen every game, but we try. And those numbers in the first week of the reset came down greatly from the last week, week 5. Now, so a little explanation for people. If you're an A team that's been together since your Gremlins or as you come up, the first 5 weeks is pretty much based on last year. What did you do last year? But we had 40 brand new B teams this year we didn't have in the past. Like your black team.
Yeah.
We didn't know if you were going to be great. Well, you're great. But we didn't know where you fit in on the scale. So we make a lot of assumptions. So for the Bs and the lower end, as we say, not every A team's created equal teams that are just out there with 16 kids or 15 kids or 12 kids or whatever, just trying to get on the field. The first 5 weeks is trying to figure out where you fit.
Yeah.
And it's not easy, but we keep a lot of stats and we're trying. But
and
overall,
you've done a great job.
Overall, it's better. Every year it gets a little bit. And then the teams on the top, what do they say, John? Oh my gosh, you're pitting me against so-and-so. I should be playing them in the championship. Well, you got to get to the championship because now in the U Conference, if we go back to when you and I were coaching the U Conference way back when, you played your 8 or 9 games in the season, and then 4 teams out of that division rematched in playoffs. And so there wasn't this opportunity for a team to move up. There wasn't an opportunity for a team to move down. So hypothetically at Bountiful, let's say you had a Pee Wee team and it wasn't as good as your Mighty Might midget at that time.
Yes.
Or Gridiron now, or Bantam teams. You just played who you played. It didn't really matter, and you just get whomped week in and week out. And you're in no chance of playoffs.
And 1 played 4 and 2 played 3 and
it was very set year over year over year. So in this new format process, this is what I wanted to have when I coached. This is truly, it took a long time to get things going. But I'm going to tell you, let's talk a minute about your team is doing very, very well. They're getting an opportunity to play and to grow and to develop. Yeah. And who knows? Some of these kids on your team right now may play varsity.
They might.
And others may not. But this extra year of development is helping them.
And the reps. There were 29th graders who decided they were going to go sit at the high school. And they don't get to play, they don't get the reps. But I will have 4 or 5 kids who will beat out some of those other kids because they got 10 games in, 11 games, they got in 1,000 extra plays.
Absolutely. So, no, that's great. So, hey, I got a question for you. I'm going to put him on the spot, John. I was up there on week 1. I watched Farmington Bantam play Clearfield. I watched the Farmington coaches, in my opinion, sorry, coaches, I'm calling you out right now, make a really bad coaching error. They kicked the football to the only guy on the field that could beat him, and he beat him. And it was a learning experience, okay? But now this Farmington Bantam team is rolling. They've beat some really good teams. And I didn't see the game, but Riverton has been blowing past some people. And Farmington Bantams took them to the woodshed. So you've scrimmaged them a few times.
I have.
Good team.
Good team. Good team. Been together 3 or 4 years. Won a couple championships up north, and they've got some players.
Well, and I was at the Corner Canyon Brighton game. Now, Corner Canyon, I'm not betting against you, but I'm going to tell you the bullseye. They've got a bullseye on you. They would like to play you in that championship game, and so, at any rate, we are. I don't know, John. What do you think? Are you seeing it as a surprise? I thought maybe there was a minute for Riverton, for Harriman, Bountiful. I'm not sure now. I think it's coming down to 2 teams.
I think it's 3 teams. But
actually, here he goes.
I think it's 2 teams.
Who's the 3 teams? Okay.
Honestly, I think it's 2 teams. But you guys,
I'll tell you what.
Hold on, I got a clear lane. I don't think Farmington's one of them.
Wow.
I think that they are right in the top 3, 4. But I think once they hit that top, top tier,
they got to play some physical teams. They're going to have to play. They're going to have to go through Bingham. They're going to have to go through Corner Canyon. They're Copper Hills, and then there's a sleeper out there. Murray just keeps trucking along.
Yes.
He's a sleeper. He just keeps winning. Love you, Shane. Love your guys. Tristan. But, actually, maybe it's not a 2-horse race, but because it doesn't matter who I put in front or who we put in front of Murray. They find a way to win. It's not always big. They just find a way to get the job done. So
I would be worried in this Bantam tournament because anyone can win.
What's going to be really fun, honestly, is that 2nd tier and 3rd tier. There are so many teams that after you get past those 6, 7, 8 teams that are all on the same level.
Yeah.
And those 2nd tier, 3rd tier tournaments are going to be. That's why we call it the Bowl Championship Series, because these are as important to you guys.
Yes.
As the top is.
Yes.
And I just look out there, and then there's a couple of these black teams that are kind of coming up, and.
Well, I saw your team. I was at your game, and they're good. They're very good. They can score on you quick, and I think you see maybe where the size issue might be a little more of your problem, which I know how you feel.
Yep.
But you can't sleep on them.
So moving down to Gridiron, Ryan Renteria's Mountain Ridge Gridiron. You got to be the odds-on favorite. But if you blink, Your bullseye is very big. You haven't lost in 2 years. Congratulations. Incredible job. Your team is incredibly well coached. But if you blink and you have a letdown, you got Brighton, you've got Bingham, you've got Syracuse, you got Corner Canyon. Oh, wait, I think he plays Corner Canyon this week. Mountain Ridge, Corner Canyon this week, probably one of the games of the week. You got Olympus clipping at the heels. I mean, there's some good teams, but nobody's been able to knock off Mountain Ridge. Close game last week with Harriman, 14-7, but great job. Great job for keeping composure and being able to stay the course and keep your kids playing at a high level week in and week out without a letdown. So that's a big one. What about Mighty Mites? Oh my. We had an upset this weekend in my world.
This one's a big.
This one was
mess.
Earth-shattering.
This one's a mess.
It's not a mess. This is fun.
No, it's fun.
This is fun. This is a fun mess.
You
Terry,
can't call a
you don't
winner.
watch these divisions like we do.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
You can't call a winner.
The dark horse, the team that's just plodding along, took a couple hits early on. Mountain Ridge is coming. Mountain Ridge is coming. But I mean, Bingham, Stansbury, Cypress was up 18-6. Ended up losing 38-18. They gave up 4 or 5 touchdowns in the final quarter. That's a heartbreak loss. You know, rally those kids around. Don't let them. Don't. You know, I used to tell my kids, don't compound a mistake with a mistake. Great thing about football is until that whistle blows, you got one more play. So what do you do on the next play? Forget the last one. Have short memories, but Mighty Mites is wide open.
Guess
and there's
what?
some good football teams.
Stansbury, Cypress.
Stansbury Cypress this week. Okay. It's not how far you fall, Cypress. How high are you going to bounce?
Honestly, I think they're playing for the number 1 seed.
Really?
Yes.
Even after Mountain Ridge?
I think they're playing for the number 1 seed.
Well, you've got on the top end. But let me tell you what was fun. I was over at Alta also, and I watched the Gridiron Black Alta play the Riverton, I believe it was white team. What a great football game. I think it ended up 13-6 or 13-7. Mm-hmm. But just terrific talent playing each other. And then we had another one in the Gridiron. We had to make some changes in the schedule this week because sometimes the computer doesn't see kids in size, and we had a team get too far down, and we had to make some changes there. But this is done on the fly for a competitive basis. And so, because we want good football teams. That was in Gridiron. That was really fun to watch the Alta Black team, who's had some really, really tough games, play a great game. Okay, let's go down to Pee Wees. I think we got Corner Canyon playing Mountain Ridge this week, and they're both 6-0. And both teams, last year, I believe it was a 7-0 game. It was a battle. It was a battle in the championship. I might have to find my way to that game this week. What do you think, John?
That's going to be a good one. But Corner Canyon, they've only had 1 touchdown scored. But
what does that mean?
their strength of schedule is a bit lower.
Exactly.
This will be a good game.
Absolutely. I mean, Mountain Ridge being the number 1 team, obviously, what people don't understand is if you're the number 1 team, your strength of schedule is going to be the toughest.
I saw Stansbury a couple weeks ago, and if Mountain Ridge beat them badly, that scares me.
Handily.
Yeah.
They did. Okay, Gremlins. Boy, there was a. We're not talking about the top of Gremlins. There was a scramble this week.
Carnage.
The coaches came off the fields, and a lot of our sounding board stuff, we get a lot of comments on the sounding board. People are venting, if you will, and they were saying, how can you put this team, this is the biggest division where we had the 0-5s, 1-4s beat the 5-0s, 4-1s. This was carnage. It was fun.
The top end was.
Because, hey, that's what it's about. We want every team walking on the field having an opportunity to compete. Don't care who wins or loses.
Yeah.
Have a great game like you had,
Yep.
and let's play ball. But Mountain Ridge, we might as well clear this one up, John. Mountain Ridge has a lot of home games. Why is that? Because we like them? We're favoring them?
No, we need the fields.
We need the fields. They have a lot of teams at Mountain Ridge. And the Mountain Ridge Gremlins, their board runs the fields. Just like Brad,
Yeah.
the Farmington Mighty Mites run your
The
fields.
Yes.
They have to be home. Now, their president, Matt Anderson, has said to me, Jeff, I'll go on the road. Angela runs the fields. These guys run the fields. Put my scouts and my gremlins at home, and I'll take the away games, and then I'll go back and help.
There's a
Now,
lot.
you better be going back and helping, Matt, or you just better not be ducking out.
There's a lot of work that goes into
Running game day.
and you need the help.
You start at 6 in the morning and you end at 6 at night. It's a long day, especially with providing fields, and we need those fields. Okay. Gremlins is wide open. I don't know. There's so many ways that could toss and turn. But I think, again, that's going to be a fun one to watch. The second, third, and fourth tiers, those playoffs. Because we're getting some really great playoff action. And that's what we want. Okay, to conclude this thing, Scouts. And you got two teams up there at 6-0. Mountain Ridge and Riverton. You got Corner Canyon 5-1, Brighton 4-2.
I think
Syracuse
this one
5-1.
everyone's going to lose in this at some point. So
Well, wouldn't it be fun if in the next 2 weeks, wouldn't it be a blast if everybody had lost before playoffs? Wouldn't that be fun? And now it's not going to happen. Would it be fun?
I just
Because
noticed
that just means that competitively we're balanced.
you see a little Cypress team sneaking up there.
Absolutely, you see a Cypress team. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to go back to one of the original podcasts back early in the season. I think Olympus is scary. They're 3-3. They've had a difficult schedule. They've scored 155. They've given up 96. Their strength of schedule
192
is one of the toughest.
I think it's the highest.
And I'm just telling you, this is what I love, because just because you're 3-3, your win-loss record's 3-3, Terry.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that you're relegated down.
No. No, not at
Because
all.
there's so many other factors that are going into this. I remember we had Olympus team 2 years ago when we first started this, Casey Evans' team. He was 3-3 at this exact point. He went on, finished out the season, played in the championship, and lost to Bingham, who hadn't lost a game in 2 or 3 years, like 22-21. So that, people, the strength of schedule, who you've played matters. We had one coach out there say, "Give me a tough game. We're ready for it." He's wanting that back. He's wanting that one back.
There's a few of those.
Maybe two back.
There's a few of those.
Yeah.
Be prepared for what you wish for. Well, Terry, all we can say is thank you for all of your years of service. And from somebody who watches kids, has watched kids his whole life grow, develop, become future players at the high school, on to the college, and some to the pros. Thank you for your years of service.
Thank you, Jeff.
And not everybody tells coaches thank you, but we thank all of you coaches. We really thank you when you don't get ejected and we don't have to sit you on the sidelines for 3 games. We really thank you for that. But you're making a difference. And how you act, how you treat the referees, how you treat people, these kids are watching. And it's amazing. When you're winning, all things are great. You lose a game and the wheels come off and the world's falling down. And no, it's not. No, it's not. Coaches, we love you. Referees, we really love you. And what we really like is we like the amount of ejections that have happened in the last 2 weeks since we had to really step up the punishment. Because it's, you know how to act. Be a role model. Don't be Charles Barkley and say, I'm not a role model. No, you are. Everybody's a volunteer. This is a kid's sport. It's not for the adults. Act appropriately. Final word.
Jeff, I love the changes. I love the program. It is so great for all the youth that we get to come in contact with. And looking forward to taking my kids and trying to regroup and going to play a very, very good Kearns team on Saturday.
Perfect. Maverick with no hair and aviators on.
We moved so fast it burned off, flew off.
All right. Jeff Gorange with Terry Orchard. Mav over there with no hair. Oh my gosh, I still am not getting used to this. Wow. We thank our sponsors. Behave on the fields. Behave. It's not that hard. They're going to make mistakes. Not only are they going to make mistakes, how many times on Saturday or Sunday do you see them go to this little camera and say, and have to review it and review it and review it? Lower your expectation of what you're getting out of officials. But raise your expectation of how to treat people and how to be good to your kids and how to be a role model. If you do that, we're preparing our youth for the future. Jeff Gorange, John Halliburton, our guest Terry Orchard. This is the Extra Point. Go score a few. We're out.
This conversation is now over.